What is capital budgeting? So we'll go through the definitions of capital budgeting, where we'll see what is capital budgeting. We'll also see how it is relevant to working capital management, which is another financial management subject. We'll see how is it relevant to options contract. Very briefly, we don't explain a lot. That will be dealt when we actually explain the subject in the later sessions. So first, we'll see what is capital budgeting. Capital budgeting is used to analyze what firms should invest in while considering a multitude of project opportunities, given the firm's cash abilities are limited to invest in all of them. So it basically sees what a firm should invest in, considering a lot of investment opportunities, but the firm cannot invest in all of them because of limited funds available to the firm. So what is the criteria which capital budgeting uses whereby firms can invest in a certain set of project opportunities? Usually a capital budget is used by a firm to manage expenditures on its fixed assets. The management considers which projects or assets to invest in due to limited funds. Firms may also consider selling less income generating fixed asset, though it's not a must to do it for the capital budgeting activity. Hence, we can say capital budgeting is the process by which a firm determines which fixed asset purchases or project investments are all right to go ahead with. And normally this is done by treating fixed asset investment in an analytical forum chaired by experts and panelists in the said domain. Now, how is it relevant to working capital management, another financial management subject? Capital asset management or working capital management usually draws big money since it is investment in current assets, and hence capital budget is made to determine if the investment is justified in terms of returns gained in a reasonable time period. So how is it relevant to options contract then? In a similar tone, we can say capital budgeting can be made use of in assessing long-term monetary and physical profit margins of any options contract. Now, what is options contract? We'll deal with, whenever we deal with financial derivatives, we come across this options contract term. So there we will explain more about options contract. But just remember that capital budgeting can be made use of in assessing long-term monetary and physical profit margins of any options contract. Different businesses use different valuation methods on capital budgeting, and hence the capital budgeting projects may get accepted or rejected. For instance, the preferred method. So first we'll just go with the preferred methods of capital budgeting. What are the preferred methods? There are in general three of them. One is net present value, internal rate of return, and payback method. So what we'll do is we'll go through each of them briefly. We'll just illustrate it with an example, and then we'll just explain a few points and we move ahead in this preferred methods of capital budgeting. So we'll first see what is net present value. So net present value uses time value of money in all its calculations. The formula to calculate net present value is RT over 1 plus I, where I is the discount rate, whole power T, not into T, whole power T. That is the formula. RT over 1 plus discount rate, the whole power T. T is the time period actually. So illustrating, let us say we have a investment of 10,000 rupees. So the cash inflow for the first year, it's the first row is the first year. Cash inflow is 1,500, cash outflow is nothing. So NPV, according to the formula, we get it as 1376.147. Similarly, for the second year, cash inflow is 2,000, cash outflow is nothing. Using the formula, we get 1683.36 as the NPV. So this is how we calculate net present value. Next, we'll take a look at what is internal rate of return or IRR. Internal rate of return is considered for projects whose NPV is zero. If NPV calculations render a zero value, then we'll kick in internal rate of return. As a rule, IRR, if it is more than the average cost of capital, the project gets accepted by the company. And if it is less than the average cost of capital, the project gets rejected by the company. So we'll just take an illustration of IRR, where we say the initial investment is rupees 10,000 for both the projects. And it so happened that year after year, for project A, the rate of the income, the fund flow is 2,500 rupees. So in 5 years, the return has cumulated to 12,500. So there's a formula where you calculate IRR, and it is calculated as cash flow over 1 plus discount rate, the whole power n, where n is the nth year, or it is the year in which we do this calculation. So accordingly, we get IRR for project A as 7.9. Similarly, for project B, since the returns are 3,000 in 1 year for every subsequent year, we get the IRR applying the formula. IRR is equal to cash flow over 1 plus discount rate whole power n as 15.2. So you see for project A, the IRR is 7.9. For project B, the IRR is 15.2. So if the cost of capital or the threshold, if we keep it as 10, then project A is actually rejected because its value of IRR is only 7.9 and the cost of capital, average cost of capital is kept at 10. That means project A is rejected and project B is actually approved. So that is what is internal rate of return or IRR calculations. Next, we'll take a look at what is payback method. So payback method, remember, calculates the time taken by a proposed project to revamp the initial money invested, and the project with the quickest payback will be approved by the company. So let us say there is already an initial investment made. Now we are getting returns from a project. Now we calculate all the returns and see when we can recoup the investment we have made. For this illustration, here we have initial investment as rupees 1 lakh, which is 100,000. Now the expansion plans we have is for product A and product B. Product A is rupees 25 per item for 500 items. And the expansion plan for product B is rupees 15 per item for 1000 items. We have to calculate which one of this expansion plan is most ideal for our payback method. So we'll see that if calculating product A brings in 12,500 rupees per year and product B brings in rupees 15,000 per year. So number of years product A is good to recap the amount invested is 8 years and for product B it is 6.67 years. So naturally it is product B which will get approved as per payback method. So that is the payback method, and we have covered we have covered net present value, internal rate of return and payback method. Thank you.